Have you ever wondered why certain people are effortlessly funny while others crash and burn every time they attempt a punchline? Comedy might feel like pure magic, but beneath every laugh lies a surprisingly predictable science. Understanding how humor actually works in the human brain can turn anyone from an awkward conversationalist into someone who consistently lights up the room. At the core of all comedy sits something researchers call the benign violation theory. For anything to be funny, two specific conditions must happen simultaneously. There must be a violation, and that violation must feel harmless or benign. A violation is anything that disrupts the norm or threatens the way we think the world should work. It can take many forms, including physical, identity, cultural, communication, logical, or moral violations. If a complete stranger walks up and tickles you on the street, that is a pure physical violation, and it feels deeply unsettling. But if a close friend does the exact same thing, you burst out laughing. The physical action is identical, but the safe environment transforms a threat into a benign violation. To master humor, you have to learn how to make violations feel safe. One way is through psychological distance. Jokes about historic events like the Titanic work because enough time has passed to soften the blow, rendering the tragedy distant and harmless. Another way is subtle sarcasm or mock attacks, where everyone instinctively understands that no actual harm is intended. You can also shift the perspective, framing potential threats as hypothetical scenarios or events occurring far away in another corner of the world. By removing immediate real-world consequences, your audience feels safe enough to perceive the violation as entertaining. However, a joke that kills with your closest friends might completely bomb with your boss or family. That brings us to the second principle: know your audience. Humor is entirely subjective because every person has a different threshold for what feels benign versus what feels like an offensive violation. Before dropping a risky joke, you need to gauge the room and understand where your listeners draw that line. When it comes to crafting the jokes themselves, three fundamental rules elevate good humor into great humor. First is brevity. Get straight to the point without lingering on unnecessary setup details. Second is specificity. Replacing vague descriptions with sharp, specific details makes scenarios far more vivid and engaging. Third is the rule of three. By listing two normal items followed by a completely unexpected third item, you establish a familiar pattern and then immediately break it with the punchline. Finally, the most critical part of becoming funnier is a willingness to fail. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and build new neural pathways, relies heavily on failure. When you throw out 5 bad jokes before one finally lands, your brain registers those failures and releases neurochemicals that dramatically heighten learning. Then, while you sleep, your brain subconsciously recalibrates what worked and what fell flat. If you only stick to completely safe comments, your brain never enters this state of growth. Making bad jokes isn't just normal, it is the exact mechanism required to rebrand your brain for sharp timing, delivery, and wit. Comedy isn't an innate genetic superpower, it's a trainable skill built on science, observation, and practice.